The Premier League dream may have ended, but the Champions League run still continues for Arsenal Football Club. Whether it gets to the first Champions League final since 2006, or maybe take it a step further. With that, I welcome you to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebole. It's a sports show where we give you nothing but the very best when it comes to sports analysis, information, education, and of course, entertainment. We have a lot to unpack on today's show. Formula One season begins this weekend, and there are plenty of questions for Red Bull, Max Verstappen, Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton, and Mercedes with a new driver-in-chief, talking about George Russell. Don't forget that on the home scene, we have a lot to unpack from the MPFL. Who will stop Rebel Stars? That is the million-dollar question. Once again, it is Sports Pizza. We come your airways giving you the very best from the world of sports. Don't forget, at the end of the show, we wrap up with the Tipstars Corner, where we give you all the juicy odds for the games going down this weekend. Let's go on a short break. When we return, I'll bring my guy on board, David, and together we'll make sense of all that we have for you on the show. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back. It is still Sports Pizza. Edwin in the building alongside David Abe. David, welcome. It's good to have you once again.
Pleasure to be here as always. I mean, I had a very fantastic weekend. Fine, there were some highs, there were some lows, but fantastic generally. Also, you mentioned Arsenal 2006 final. I remember where I was when that final happened. I was in JSS1. To tell you how long ago it happened, now I'm a full grown man. So the time that has passed with a lot has happened. And with Arsenal every season, I mean, since that time till now, I've been doing the same song and dance with Arsenal. They give you joy, they give you disappointments. But I mean, so I've decided to live my life with the motto that blessed are those who don't expect much because they will not be disappointed. That's how I choose to support Arsenal.
All right, since you started with Arsenal, let's continue in that same vein. The Premier League title is over. Of course, it's over. Mikel Arteta, in his post-match conference after that draw with Manchester United, didn't want to hear any of that conversation. Hey, I'm not interested. He was asked about not getting a centre forward. He's not interested. But the Champions League is there. Do you think this team is motivated enough to push and perhaps, against all odds, get to the final of the Champions League? You need to be in the final before you have a chance to win. Do you think this team have what it takes to get into the finals of the Champions League?
I mean, it's a very difficult question, a multifaceted question. If it's the motivation, I think motivation is something that is intrinsic. You can bring in from within. But then it now gets to, do you have what it takes? Do you have the personnel? You talked about how depleted Arsenal are. Do they have the personnel? You know, I mean, they don't have, they are against the odds, and the odds are mightily stacked against Arsenal. I mean, going to the next round, they are going to face, you know, a very daunting task again. So I don't know how far they can go. I don't think it will be enough for them.
Still with Arsenal, David, let's dissect the Premier League season. Let's do a post-mortem of it. How would you rate it? Disappointing? A season that could have been? Who would you fault? The players, the manager, or the boardroom?
Yeah, for me as an Arsenal fan, from my point of view, I think for me, you need to, you know, unpack a lot of things that went wrong over the course of this season. I mean, this was a season where Arsenal were expected to actually consolidate on the last two second-place finishes. A season where we didn't expect Man City to fall off the way they did, and we didn't expect Liverpool to be the major challengers. Arsenal were looking like first or second favourite, and then the way it all faltered. For the players, I feel a lot of sympathy. That's the emotions I have for them, because they've given as much as they could, but unfortunately, they were not helped by the board. Fine, you can put Arteta also in the mix because recruitment did not go well. But I think at some point in January, Arteta came out and, you know, put all hands on deck and was like, "This is not completely my fault. I want reinforcement, but the board are not giving me." I think the board have decided to sacrifice, you know what they have their intentions, what they want to do to rebuild the squad, so they are not going to bend on their rules. So I think they didn't help the team generally, and that's why we have seen what has happened this season. All
right, David, let's talk about Mikel Arteta for a moment. Do you think his cycle is complete? Now, he came in when the club were in their lowest ebb. Consecutive 8th-place finishes. I hope I'm correct with that. There was a time where he failed to qualify for the Champions League on the final day. Now we've seen Arsenal grow from that to where finishing second is a disappointment. Now it's taken him about 6-7 years to get Arsenal to this level. And that's a long time in modern football. Do you think that cycle is complete?
I don't think so. I mean, it might sound like I'm being optimistic or I'm just trying to make case for him. But I think one thing that I think I consider when I look at this team is not at the final destination. You look at it, if you have looked at the Arsenal, you feel there's something missing. Is it something Arteta, if he's given the right tools, can he address it? I think so.
What's missing?
I think a striker. He has spent over 700 million since he got to the club. How much of that amount has been spent on attacking signings. He has signed only Leandro Trossard, and Gabriel Jesus as the actual attacking option. So I think if he can invest more in the attack, you look at Arsenal. Arsenal are not a team who are terrible. They're just a team who is missing something, and I think that's something that is missing in an attacking signing.
All right, but for Liverpool fans, I'm sure you guys are in high heavens at this point. It's difficult to see how Liverpool will throw away this healthy lead. It's 15 points at this stage, but they played a game more than Arsenal Football Club. But David, Arne Slot is coming to a side who, on paper, had quality, but in reality were the third best team in England, behind Manchester City and Arsenal Football Club. Would you agree with me? Because I think this is the best debut season of a manager in the history of the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't.
When you consider other factors.
Yeah, I mean, you can't disagree with it. Especially, nobody expected what Liverpool have delivered. The level of consistency they've delivered for a manager in his debut. So they've only lost one game so far in the Premier League this season. That's really incredible. I think for me, I said it somewhere, even though it's not on tape or anywhere recorded, but I talked about the fact that coming into Liverpool is going to be a much easier job than I was comparing with Maresca at Chelsea, because Liverpool have a structure. You just need a manager who will come in and understand his place and get things working. Just move few pieces around and you get the best, but I didn't expect this much from him. Yeah,
I've had conversations around this topic, and Chelsea fans have said, oh, there's Jose Mourinho, 2004-05, there's Antonio Conte in the mix. But yeah, I agree, fantastic managers, fantastic, incredible achievement. But when you consider the financial backing both coaches had, you compare that to what Arne Slot had. Chiesa, injury from Juventus. He's barely played a minute in the Premier League. And you look at how they have walked through the league this season. I think it's incomparable what Arne Slot has done. It's painful to say as a Manchester United fan, but hey, you cannot argue with the facts. All right, David, away from the English Premier League, let's head straight to the Italian Serie A, where the top three are going neck to neck. Inter Milan had to do the hard work against Monza, coming from 2 goals down. Then Napoli responded with that huge win against Fiorentina. And guess what? Atalanta away from home. Prior to that win against Juventus over the weekend, they had won 8 of their last 11 away games, drawing 3. Right now it stands at 9 away wins, 3 draws for Atalanta. Who impressed you the most over the weekend?
I think for me it's Atalanta. I just like the fact that they're not giving up without a fight. Everybody has put them as the third wheel in this, title race. But I think this is the kind of performance that they need to actually remind everybody that we are going to push as much as possible. I mean, they have nothing much to lose. If they lose out on the title, maybe on the final day or maybe 2 on the penultimate day, people will give them kudos, so they can just push as much as they can.
Yeah, push as much as they can. That is David's advice to Atalanta. But in Inter Milan and Napoli, you have 2 challengers who have managers that have tasted glory, as opposed to Gasperini, looking for his first league title in the Italian Serie A. Quick one from the Spanish La Liga, sad event for Barcelona, lost their club doctor. They had, I think, lunch with him. Yes, and all of a sudden, there's no more.
Sometimes, we talk about football so much, but you need to remember that there's more to football than just what is played on the field. There's life generally. These are human beings, and the emotions really, really deep. All our thoughts are with everybody connected to Barcelona.
Yes, our thoughts are with everyone connected to FC Barcelona. We hope that they come out of this stronger. And to the family of the disease, our condolences from everyone at Sports Pizza. Before we do our first break, David, what stats do you have for us this week?
Yeah, so I'll start with a man who Man United fans love to hate at this point in time, Bruno Miguel Fernandes, somebody who, love-hate relationship. For me, his numbers, generally since he joined Manchester United since 2020 have been good. He's been the shining light in that team. This weekend he scored second free kick in 3 games for Manchester United, although in his first 193 games he scored only 1. So he's somebody who, there are highs and there are lows. You just have to love or hate him for who he is. Also, I looked at his fellow Portuguese international, Vitinha, the man at PSG. I looked at very interesting numbers he has produced in the Champions League, of players who have completed, of midfielders who have completed 300 plus passes in the final third of the position. He has had a 92.9% accuracy. That's the most in the champion. This is somebody who is very underrated. A lot of people don't see him as the fancy guy, but I mean, he's very effective. He does very good stuff. And finally, somebody who I really like, I think He's one of football's mavericks right now we have in football. Michael Olise at Bayern Munich, from Reading to Crystal Palace, now to Bayern Munich. Right, nice trajectory. He made the 700 assists for French players in the Champions League. In comparison, there are only 2 other nations who have produced more assists in the Champions League. There's Brazil with 755, and then there's Spain with 713. So these are countries who are making a mark. If you're asking where Nigeria are in the list, I'll get back to you on that.
All right, we need to go on a short break. When we return, there's more on the other side. Don't forget, like I said, Formula One returns this weekend in Australia. And guess what? We're going to see Lewis Hamilton in the red of Ferrari. Welcome back to the second half of the show. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is Sports Pizza, a sports show where we give you the very best analysis, information, education, and a bit of entertainment. I'm the host, Edwin Onyebolise, and I do this in company of David. David, let's head straight to Melbourne in Australia. Yeah. Formula One season starts this weekend. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm also excited. This is the second, of the 24 race season. We had one last season, fantastic historic one. This season was as well. But also, this is the final season for, the current set of F1 ruling. So everybody is going to try to pedal to the medal and go all the way.
Talking about pedal to the medal, I like that. What is success for Lewis Hamilton in 2025? We know that he wants that elusive 8th title. Yeah. We know that he left Mercedes for Ferrari because, one, they didn't give him a competitive car, and crucially, they offered him a 1-year contract. He sees his future in Formula One for a long time. You look at Fernando Alonso, who is about 3 years older than Lewis Hamilton, and is still delivering some fantastic races. Yeah. He's motivated, but can that motivation take him past the finish line?
I don't think this will be the season for it to happen. You look at somebody like Lewis Hamilton, who is a seasoned campaigner, somebody whose hunger for the sport has always been there. I think generally he's heading to a team who also are they're hungry for success. Ferrari have been starved of success. The most successful team on the circuit, but for a long time they struggled for that success. So I think it's a partnership that should work. But this season they will not get to the height that they expect because they still have McLaren who are want to ride on the back of what they did last season. And for Red Bull, they are not the very best of shape right now, but they have a driver who is a hungry competitor. So
for McLaren, they want to continue from where they left last season. How do you see this season playing out? Do you think we have a new challenger, or the top two will battle it out?
I mean, I looked through the entire 20 drivers, that are on the circuit right now, and I think in McLaren they have two of the most balanced drivers in Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. We saw what both of them did last season. At different spells last season, they took the challenge to the rest of the race. I think that's the advantage they have. Also for Lando Norris, a lot of the mistakes he made last season, he could be corrected. The difference between himself and Max Verstappen was 63 points. A lot of those mistakes could have closed that gap even further. So I think they are really motivated this season to go all the way.
Yeah, motivated to go all the way on the 16th of March. That is on Sunday in Melbourne. The first race, the first light out in Formula One season 2025. It's going to be a surreal moment for Lewis Hamilton in the red of Ferrari. Let's come back home, David. The NPFL, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Remo Stars. But hey, we must talk about Remo Stars. They are inching closer to their first title.
Absolutely amazing one for them. I think for me, it will be a deserved title, and I think it will have a lot of storylines to tell, a lot of narratives that we can take from it. How Nigerian football generally can improve from it, because they are going to set a pace. The first privately owned club to be champions of the league. I think we do a fantastic achievement when it happens.
It's also a good advertisement for young local coaches, David. Last season we saw Fidelis Ilechukwu lead Rangers to the title in stunning fashion. This season, Daniel Ogumodede will replicate the same feat, also in equal measure. Going forward, how excited are you about the future of coaching in Nigeria and the bigger picture of being the Super Eagles of Nigeria? Do you think we have coaches that can take over? Maybe not in the short term, but in the long term, do you think we have coaches that can take over from maybe Eric Chell or whoever comes after him?
I mean, generally, I want to be optimistic about the chances of our local coaches, but I've been beaten too many times. My hand has been burned too many times. We've seen guys who have done it. Paul Agbogun did with Eimba, fantastic one for him. We saw Imam do with Rangers in 2016. We looked at it was the next real big deal. Kennedy Boboye with Aqua United. We've seen all these names do very well, and then all of a sudden they fizzled out. So I don't know if these two guys, this will be the next generation, the ones who will lead them for. Maybe they are the ones who have the, actual skill to deliver.
Both managers already in the national team setup.
Yeah.
It's left to be seen how prominent their roles will be in this new technical setup. Before we leave the local scene, David, our players are doing great stuff abroad, and there's a name I'm waiting for you to call. Let's have Nigerian players abroad.
Hopefully I'll call Danny. But generally, Nigerian players were in fantastic form over the course of last weekend. The defenders generally shown like a million stars. Ola Aina, his 50th appearance for Nottingham, 50th Premier League appearance for Nottingham Forest, a clean sheet in their 1-0 victory over Manchester City. They swatted aside the defending champions and ensured that their third position, they are securing it this season. And also for somebody who I talked about generally, I've talked about him over the course of the few weeks in this show, Gabriel Osho with Auxerre in France. We remember Taribo West in Auxerre, the Nigerian making it. Now another Nigerian is making his name there. Another clean sheet for them with their 2-0 victory. Fantastic one for him.
And he came away from home.
Yeah, he came away from home. Fantastic. I think he's doing well. At the beginning of the season, he was not very consistent, but now he's a mainstay in that. Fantastic one for him. And also the man of the moment, Victor Osimhen. I mean, he keeps doing the numbers for Galatasaray. They will be champions definitely this season. He's leading another team to a title. If you want a player to lead you to a title, sign Victor Osimhen. Manchester
United or perhaps Arsenal, you know who to get. Hey, you did talk about Ademola Lookman. Fantastic performance against Juventus. That's the name I was waiting for. I mean, the reigning African player.
Water is wet.
Water is wet. All right, let's go on a break. We'll give you our video for the week. When we return, it's going to be the Tipstars Corner, and Octopus David is in the building. Let's see what he has in store for us. Welcome back from that short break. Our producer did David dirty. He showed us Manchester United and Arsenal, and after that he gave us Liverpool's win against Southampton, telling David that, hey, sorry, United dashed your hopes, and Liverpool are going to win the title.
The caption for that video should be how Arsenal lost the title.
All right, let's go to the Tipstars Corner. David, what do you have for us this weekend?
Yeah, in my usual super step, I spread my tentacles around Europe. But first, I went to Germany, the big game in Germany this weekend, RB Leipzig versus Borussia Dortmund. I mean, on the table, it's not a very big game, but for what it offers for the market options, fantastic one. First of all, you need to look at the goals market. Yeah. Goals are going to reign in that game because generally both teams score goals and they don't know how to defend properly. So first, you go for over 2.5 goals. It looks like a very sure banker in this game. If you're very safe, you're looking for smart money, over 2.5 goals. For the results market, I think Dortmund are not in a very good place. Away from home, they've been very bad. It's the reason why they've had two different managers this season. So I think I realize will do just enough, to prevent Dortmund from getting a result in that. So maybe a double chance for RB Leipzig if you want to be safe. Or if you want to go for Leipzig, win either half. For the result market. Also, I took another stroll to Spain, where there's another big fixture this weekend: Villarreal versus Real Madrid at the Ceramica. Fantastic one if you're looking at it on paper. For the goals market, also, I think I like it for the goals market because there's going to be over 1.5 goals in this game. In their last 5 fixtures, 3 of those have produced at least over 1.5 goals. So over 1.5 goals looks very good. For the results markets, Madrid have a lot on the line at this point in time. So I think a double chance for Real Madrid, X2 for Real Madrid if you want to be very safe, if you want to go for a result. And for both teams to score, it looks very good because Villarreal know how to score. Real Madrid also have enough weapons in their arsenal. And finally, I stopped over in England, where there's a big fixture this weekend: Arsenal versus Chelsea, the London derby. Not much at stake other than bragging rights, to be very honest. So it presents a good market for us that want to exploit. For goals market, I think you're looking at an over 2.5 goals in this one. In 4 of the last 5 fixtures between both teams, there have been over 2.5 goals produced. Fine, you say the first leg ended 1-1, but that's the outlier in this run of fixtures. And also for both teams to score, it looks very good, very, very fantastic. When Chelsea know how to score, Arsenal always find a way to score, even if it's just a goal. And also for the results market, I mean, Arsenal are not chasing the title at this point in time, but they want to, maintain some of their steals at home. So I think 1x for Arsenal not to lose at home, win or draw for Arsenal.
I'll take it a step further. I'll go with Arsenal to win either half, win either first or second half. I think that should be good value for punters. And this is where we drop anchor on today's edition of Sports Pizza. I'm sure you've had a swell time with us in the studio. They say time waits for no man. Hey, time flies past when you are having fun. We'll do this again same time next week. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screen. David, as always, it's a pleasure having you in the studio.
I mean, you said we dropped anchor, meaning we were cruising on the ship, but I think it was more of a roller coaster. We just came down from the roller coaster. Fantastic. Always a pleasure doing this with you. From Avi David, it's goodbye.
And from me, Edwin Onyebole, say au revoir. Have a sporting weekend.